Cheers, Stephen Lane here. I'm going to take you through July's Chicago Critical Mass ride. This one was a special one. We rode out to Berwyn in an effort to save the spindle. This wasn't my idea, but I actually helped with a flyer design. This was the flyer and map to Berwyn, along with some cool info on the back. Chicago Critical Mass ride has an email listserv, which is very helpful for having these kind of public discussions. There's like 400 riders who are registered on the listserv, and it's a great forum for discussion. I'm going to read from a post to the listserv, and I'm also going to read for some rider reports that were posted to the website, chicagocriticalmass.org. Anybody can now register to submit content to the site, specifically ride reports and uploading flyers. There was a great email submitted to the list that really summed up all the planning that went into the ride, and really kind of gives you an idea of the character of Chicago's critical mass scene. This was posted by Sam after the ride, and it was in a response to a lot of complaints that people had submitted in terms of this ride. Suggested sort of a change in the character of Chicago Critical Mass, that we were no longer voting on rides and that somehow somebody was pulling all the strings. So Sam chimed in to let everybody know that this was really a big group effort. So in Sam's words, "I'm not a usual utilizer of the list, and in fact, I unfortunately haven't had the time to ride at Mass in quite a while due to work, but maybe my perspective might help settle your qualms. The most important question that you raised was, who makes the decision? To answer this, I'll start at the beginning of the preparation of this ride. The first mention of the spindle was on a post July 10th that was just someone saying, 'Say goodbye to the spindle,' and pasting a small Tribune article. The only reply with substance was a link to a Sun-Times article. The same day, a few hours later, another thread is started. Brian Ritzel posted a link to the petition posted by the Berwyn Arts Council. About 30 minutes later, T.C. O'Rourke started the thread, or renamed the old one, F*CK petitions, let's riot, where he argued, petitions are all well and good, but I believe the situation calls for some good old grassroots activism, and followed up with, therefore I will be reproposing my May 2005 route map to the spindle at this month's Mass. His idea seemed to be fairly well liked, as Alexis Finch said, "Oh lovely, I always enjoy zipping through Pilsen, and really the spindle and environs could do with seeing a few more bikes." Margaret Hartman contributing, "Could we also brainstorm some sort of memento of our visit for Berwyn?" And added at the end, "I'm so stoked about this ride." Later I read and grew excited also. I was excited because I liked to see that there could also be a ride that was for a good, easily agreed upon cause that might actually further the cause of critical mass by bringing attention to itself while also supporting the problem at hand. I suggested maybe it would be a good idea to somehow establish that this is where mass riders want to end up, and then write a press release and trying to contact the media to convince them to meet the mass there. I got contacted by a few people off list, but unfortunately I wasn't able to follow through with my own suggestion. Luckily, others took it upon themselves and wrote the press release, chicagocriticalmass.org/save the spindle, and also 2 maps were made. Sculpture to sculpture to save culture. And the Mayor of Berwyn is scheduled to come out and meet us. Wayne and Garth impersonators. Most of the discussion following was either in support of the mass or arguing about which of the maps was better. There was an interesting topic that was based on a question posed by Christopher Gagnon. He wondered, what if the mass didn't go to the Spindle? Saying, I'm all for the Berwyn ride, but I have to confess that I have a desire to see the ride wind up somewhere else completely, if only to reinforce the anarchic, leaderless aspect of things. This brought on lots of discussion about whether rides should be planned or not, and people pointed out that historically most rides are planned, and more discussion about whether planned routes end out more enjoyable than unplanned ones, etc., etc. Anyways, it seemed pretty unanimous that everyone wanted to go to the Spindle. On to the day of the Mass, I wasn't there, but from what I can guess, there probably was talk about the Berwyn ride as maps were distributed. Hopefully most people knew about where they were headed before the Mass started. As to who the leader was, there were none. Not having a vote was testament to that. If someone didn't want to go to Berwyn, they could have held the vote themselves. It was probably random cyclists that got bored of waiting and started circling Picasso, not any specific group of leaders. Since there wasn't a vote, theoretically whoever was at the front of the Mass could control it. Seeing as you guys ended up in Berwyn, I'd imagine that whoever made the beach map either had a change of heart or didn't care enough to take the front. In addition, there was nothing stopping anyone from hijacking the Mass. If they felt that many people did not like where it was going. Alternatively, there is nothing stopping anyone from trying to get people to split off and form a second mini-Mass. In conclusion, to answer your other question, who decided on going to Cermak, Bob is right. We did. But not only that, as additionally, you did. And so did everyone else, even without needing a vote. Signed, Sam. Thank you, Sam. That was a great email.
I'm on TV! Hi, Mom! My life has meaning! I'm on TV! Oh my God, I didn't see what it was till he got away from it.
As Sam mentioned, there was a press release put out on the website. I was able to write that and put it online. On the back of the ride flyer I created, I published an excerpt from that. I headed it with, "Why ride to save a monument to car culture?" Thought a lot of people might question that. We're all about bikes. Why are we going to this sculpture that's made of cars? So here's my answer. Perhaps we see the Spindle as a prophetic symbol of a future where cars are reduced to fossil remains as they go the way of the dinosaurs that fueled them. We know the car spike will become more meaningful and infinitely more valuable when America finally closes this dark chapter of unsustainable living and ecological destruction. It is an Ozymandias for the industrial age, mocking the moral insanity of planned obsolescence and providing a deliciously twisted look into our throwaway junk culture. We understand how public art and space can galvanize a community. We are proposing to send a cavalry of cyclists to protest this kind of predatory corporate development, which whitewashes our communities and trades civic pride for shareholder profits. The participants of Chicago's critical mass will not quietly pedal by as corporations deface our communities, transforming the world into a characterless monoculture.